Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Timothy Brown. I am a board member for the National Optometric Foundation. And once again, we are bringing you a live webinar, Protecting the Vision. Have some amazing guest speakers with us tonight that I'll introduce later into the show. But let me tell you a little bit about the National Optometric Foundation, the NOF. We are the financial arm for the National Optometric Association. That's our parent company. And we support the National Optometric Student Association. We support students who are currently in optometry school, those who are thinking about going to optometry school, and we're able to do this from generous sponsors and people who donate money to allow us to be able to do the great things that we do for students as well as community. We are always trying to do free eye exams, which we had the opportunity to do at our past NOA conference in Philadelphia. And we were able to provide free eye exams, free glasses, free services for people in the community in Philadelphia. Thanks to VSP for partnering with us. Thanks for all of those who came out and volunteered to make that event a success. And we want to continue to do these great things. And if you guys decide that you would like to be someone who would donate to help us towards the cause, feel free. We have a Cash App, and you can donate tonight. You go to our Cash App, $ Protecting the Vision, and we'll be glad to accept your donation. And we'll give you a shout out as well there. So you can also follow us so that you can learn more about us. We have a website, nationaloptometricfoundation.com. You can go on there and see some of our photos from previous events that we've done, and you can also see who our current officers are and our board members and learn more about the NOF and the NOA. You can also go and follow us on our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page, same name, National Optometric Foundation, and we're also on YouTube, where you can watch webinars like you're watching today, and you can also see our previous webinars. We had dynamic speakers over the past 2 to 3 years on our webinars, and you can go and share those with your family members, with your church members, people in your sorority or fraternity, whatever organization you may be a part of. Share this. This is free public education that we are given on a monthly basis every third Monday at 7 p.m. And we want to continue to do these things. We want to make sure that we are protecting the vision, preventing blindness, helping saving eyeballs, encouraging people to don't delay, do it today, get your eye exam scheduled with your local optometrist. And we also want to make sure that we talk about the 3 silent killers of your vision, making sure people are aware of glaucoma, diabetic retinopathy, and also hypertensive retinopathy. We're also going to continue to highlight some great things as we're going to do tonight when we're talking about education, learning, and mental health. And our great speakers tonight, Dr. Camille Cohen, she's going to be talking with us about this topic, as well as Dr. Janice James. Dr. Cohen earned her Doctor of Optometry degree in 2014 from the great Salus University, and she has her Bachelor of Science in Health Sciences from the University of Miami. Most recently, Dr. Cohen became a fellow of the American Academy of Optometry. Her awards include the 2018 NOA Service Award, the 2020 Vision Monday Most Influential Women in Optometry, and the 2021 Dr. Melvin Shipp Young Optometrist of the Year Award. And she currently owns and manages her own practice, a Pearl Vision franchise office there. Dr. Cohen, we want to welcome you to the show tonight. We hope that you are doing well. Thank you so much for being on the show and seeing your smiling face.
Thank you, Dr. Brown, for having me. It is a pleasure.
Awesome, awesome. We are also going to have her friend, her colleague, our dear friend, Dr. Janice James on the show as well. She earned her Bachelor of Science in Biological Sciences at the Georgia State University in Atlanta, Georgia. Graduated cum laude from the Inter-American University of Puerto Rico School of Optometry, and completed a residency in ocular disease, ocular refractive surgery at Wolfson Eye Institute, and she's an active member of the National Optometric Association and fellow of the American Academy of Optometry. Dr. James currently co-owns and practices at Iconic Family Eye Care in Dallas, Georgia, and we are excited to have her on the show today. Come on, Dr. James. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you. Happy to be here.
Awesome. I am so glad that both of you are on here. We know that each of us in our own space, our own community, we have different things that we are involved in and different things that we do that's impactful to our community. Dr. Brown and I, we do a lot of things throughout the year here at Insight Family Eye Care for the community that we're in. But you're also making a great impact among our future optometrists, our students who are in optometry school, trying to help them navigate through what can be some very stressful and challenging situations. And I want to just pause and say thank you. Thank you for all that you have done to help those who are coming along behind us as they're trying to navigate their way through optometry school. And I want to give you guys the opportunity to be able to share with our listening audience some things that you have experienced, some things that you have seen, some things that maybe you and yourself may have faced that was a challenge for you as a student in optometry school and maybe currently as a practicing optometrist as well there too. So I'm going to go ahead and get the webinar started. And the question that I have for you, and either one you feel free to answer there, what inspired you guys to start Eyeie Academics LLC? And maybe you could tell the audience what it is, and give us some insight into uh, your business there.
Dr. Cohn, I will let you do that. You do that so well.
Excellent, excellent.
I had a feeling. So Eyeie Academics LLC was really birthed out of what was a volunteer passion project. So I was formerly the director of communications on the NOA board. I had posted my struggles with boards, particularly part one, and had an overwhelming response. That was in 2019. 2020, as we know, we had a global pandemic. And when everything shut down, I had several mentees reach out and say they were struggling with boards were canceled, they were struggling with classes, they wanted additional support. And we had time, everybody was locked up. So I asked several NOA doctors, not only Dr. James, but also Dr. Pepper, Dr. Jacqueline Davis, Dr. Reynolds, as well as some friends from childhood, Dr. Jamila Condrington, a clinical psychologist, as well as Sharice Watson, a licensed mental health counselor. And we had these very informal, impromptu Zoom sessions, just allowing us to really assist students with their study habits, their organizational skills, as well as how to manage test anxiety, stress, just unpacking all of the stressors that go along with grad school, with taking exams. And of that group, which was published in an Academy poster written by Dr. Pepper and myself, we had a cohort of about 19 to 20 students who consistently showed up. And of that group, about 80% of them had previously failed their board exams at least once. We had a 78.8 pass rate for the group. So with that success, we saw that, okay, there's something here to what we're doing. And for me personally, just being able to help mentees, that was enough. I was good there. I was done. But Dr. James approached me later and she said, we really should move forward with this. Let's create a group. Let's make this a formal entity in which we can continue to help students. And while we worked on that together, we both invested in the process of creating the LLC, getting a trademark, all of that. We were still volunteering for about 2 years with students, assisting in any way we can, offering free sessions. What we noticed was there wasn't the same passion that we saw in the initial group, which could be several reasons. I think being that when we were no longer locked up in a quarantine, I think that people really were not taking things as seriously. And it became frustrating because we were, spending so much time with them. So we really strategized over the last, I would say about 1.5 to 2 years, how can we better improve that? Since then, we've published 3 or 4 workbooks on Amazon to help students get better with their time management skills, how to decompress, having a journal with prompts and everything else like that, as well as now most recently, we printed what would be a kidney review to really mimic the work we did in these sessions to help people put concepts together.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, from the birth of a struggle came about a creative idea to help others navigate through challenges that they're facing when it comes to studying, learning more there. And I know that it can be challenging. We see that in the office, when the eyes are not working together as a team, there's a struggle for the child to learn in school there. And then you guys are seeing that there was a struggle here. You put a plan together and you executed that plan, and it's helped a lot of people, and that's great. And then you started noticing, hmm, the passion is not there like it used to be after all of that excitement in the beginning. The passion kind of went downhill there. But do you see, when you guys were doing this, some things, what would you say would be some things that students told you hindered them from being able to be effective in learning while they're in school there?
So I think a lot of times students also had a hard time pinpointing what the exact issue was. So while I was an optometry student, I used to tutor. And one thing that I realized during those 3 years of tutoring was I actually spent more time showing the students how to organize their notes, how to rearrange their PowerPoint, how to make a study schedule than I actually spent reviewing the information. And so when it's time to study, there are endless resources that have the information that we need to learn. But it's just, how do you learn it? How do you retain that information? So I think number one, poor time management. You'll get on social media to look at one thing, and then you look up and it's been 45 minutes that you've been scrolling, right? Yep. So those are things that we had to talk about. How do you rein that in? In our planner, we have a habit tracker. It talks about certain habits that you have, to make sure that you put a rein on how much time you spend on social media, how much time you spend watching your favorite shows, and then also wanting to encourage good habits, taking time to cook food so you're not always eating a lot of unhealthy processed food, working out, exercising, taking a walk, doing things to decompress. We have the journal so that you can journal and write out your thoughts and feelings about what's going on. And so all those things are important. So definitely time management, organizational skills, definitely at the top of the list, because I'll have somebody say, well, how are you supposed to learn 200 PowerPoint slides? And I'm like, well, there's definitely a method to it. And so it's, how do you figure out what is important? How do you prioritize your main ideas and then learn how to add the details in later, so that way it's something that you can remember? Because I used to always stress that this is not something that you're learning to forget. This is information that you're going to need for the rest of your career, and you're going to need to know it. And I think that putting an emphasis on that kind of helps students say, okay, well, I really do need to figure out how I am going to learn this. And then also, just life, stresses of life. While we are in school, life is still happening. People are still losing loved ones, dealing with sick family members, and having new family members being born, weddings, things like that. And so, things like that can also affect how you study. And of course, test anxiety at the top of the list. While some people deal with test anxiety, I never dealt with written test anxiety, but I definitely, had a lot of issues when it came to practicals. I did not like people watching me. I did great in clinic when it's just me and the patient. If you put a professor in the room with us, it turns into a very average encounter. So, we all have something to deal with along that, whether it's written test anxiety, doing practicals. And those are all things that we're going to have to learn to overcome as we, strive to get our license.
And it seems like that proctor or professor is looking right at you, but they're there for everyone. But you just have that feeling, that anxiety start building up, and you're like, man, why are they watching me? Am I moving too much? Am I looking too much? You know, you don't want them to, you don't want to send off any false alarms or anything. You know, you're kind of nervous about how you're moving there. But I heard both of you say something about a key point that I think is true, even in life, even in us now here working in the office, is being organized. Organization is very important there. Without that, the stress mounts up. You know, it just grows stronger and stronger, and it can really throw you off your game. And you mentioned also about losing family members and loved ones while you're in optometry school, which is something that I had to deal with when my dad passed away while I was in optometry school. And it's a lot to bounce back from when that happens in school. So a lot of things can rock us and shake us and throw us off track. And it's good to have those pointers there so that people can have something that they can go back and look at to get them back on track when those challenges come while they're in optometry school there. So I'm so glad that you guys have that. And I want to know if students are able to still get some of your workbooks and publications from Amazon if they are needing them at this time now.
Absolutely. Yep. They are live right now.
Okay, so students, if you're watching, if you're not connected with these two young ladies here, their work is available for you if you're having struggles learning, having some struggles with staying focused, like they say, keeping track. We spend a lot of time on things that we really don't know unless we start keeping track of it. I tell the staff here all the time, unless you keep track of how long you've been with a patient, you really, you know, you can really lose track of how, you know, that you're taking a long time. And you know, we got to keep moving there. So glad that you guys mentioned it. There's some key pointers there that I think is very important. And I don't know if you guys remember, if you think back, what type of student you were, you know, in high school. If you want to talk about that, you know, and your experiences either at Salis University or out in Puerto Rico.
I would say you want us to go back as far as high school or as in optometry school?
You can do both. You know, if you see a difference and, you know, and your pathway to learning and growing, then yes, let's share that. That's important.
I would say in high school, probably before undergrad, I was an overachiever. I was accustomed to being at the top of the class. If there's extra credit, I'm going to do it. I could have an A average. I'm still going to do the extra credit. I never knew how to study because I didn't have to. I just take the test and do well. I chose to do math and science as a major, but those were never my strongest subjects. So I think undergrad was the first time that I had to really look at what does it mean to study. And I remember I made friends with someone who I'm still very close to, who sat me down and said, no, you need to start looking at this material earlier. Going from undergrad to grad school was not was not good, because now I was accustomed to still kind of waiting to the last minute. The volume of work is much greater than undergrad. The speed with which you move through the semester is faster. And I was the worst at studying before I really properly learned how to manage my time. I would watch Law and Order, SVU, and have my notes spread out. They were never organized in folders. They were just in loose papers all over my bed, because I would study in bed, probably didn't have great lighting, and had snacks ready to go. Maybe fell asleep, would wake back up, and really struggled throughout all my semesters. Going from that to boards, that's why part one of boards was a problem. So I know Dr. James mentioned that she had an issue with practicals. I loved practicals. I did really well with practicals. That was never an issue. I loved clinic. I struggled with written exams. And so part one being at that time still on paper, being essentially a 2-day, 14-hour exam. Even before taking the test, I had already made up my mind that I was going to fail this test. And that's something that we talk to students about, and I speak very heavily to them about, is, it starts in your mind. If you already decided you're going to fail it, you're going to fail it. And I absolutely was that person who, even before going in, knew I wouldn't do well. And it was the the humility I had to learn, and the pride I had to learn to let go of, that allowed me to accept help from my family members and from my friends, who kind of gathered around me and said, this is really intense. You keep failing this test. Let's talk about it. And allowing those people to help me, allowing them to have very honest conversations with me, um, enabled me to assess what I was doing incorrectly and succeed ultimately with the exam. And I really thought it was important, because throughout that process, I felt so alone and so ashamed that I wasn't asking for help, and I wasn't going to professors. I wasn't talking to classmates, because I just felt like I was the only one struggling. After passing, I met so many people who enlightened me to their struggle. And that kind of led to me making the decision to publish in the NOA newsletter. I think on the Facebook page, I put it up. I said, here's, graduation season, commencement season. I remember my commencement and being very depressed because I still hadn't passed boards. And I was just putting a message out there that, hey, if this is you right now in your season, know that things can get better. You can get through this and you can pass.
That's a heartfelt message there from you, and very good that you did allow your struggles and challenges to come around to be a positive thing, to help others, because little do we know, others are going through similar situations that we are, whether it's mental health issues or abuse or things of that sort. There, others are going through the struggle as well. And when we share our story, it encourages and inspires others to open up about theirs. And I'm so glad that you open up about yours, because when you're in those situations and struggling like that, you do feel alone. You do feel ashamed. Do you feel like minimizing your conversation with others there? You're trying to figure it out on your own and say, hey, I got to figure this thing out, and sometimes people figure it out and sometimes they don't. And I'm glad that you guys were able to organize things so that if others are struggling, they can have a little light in a dark moment. It could be a very dark moment for a lot of people there. So good on that part there. Thank you for sharing that as well. I don't know, Dr. James, you came back in if you wanted to add on to anything there. And if not, maybe you guys could talk about things that you think now we're here in 2024. Are students facing greater challenges now, or are they in the same situation? Do you see where things are helping them, from you introducing this course and the assistance and the support that you gather from so many other colleagues there?
I think things are different. I don't necessarily think, and maybe Dr. James can, chime in on that as well. I don't think that things are harder. I think they're different. I think they have different challenges. For me as a student, I don't know about you, Dr. Brown, but I know for me, the main thing that was the social media platform was Facebook. Instagram came when I was getting ready to graduate. It would have been a very, very dark time if I had Instagram and Facebook. They have so many distractions. And that is something that's different from previous generations. But I think sometimes when talking to students, I want them to understand that a lot of the things they complain about aren't new. If you talk to doctors from previous generations, they're going to complain about the same things. And I don't think that you get to hold on to your challenges as if you're the only one experiencing them. I think at NOA, we had the privilege of honoring Dr. Bynum, and I interviewed him when I was the director of communications. And I remember him telling me about, hey, I had to have police escort me to take my board exams because I was taking my board exams during a time of the civil rights movement. And they were starting to desegregate schools and the things he had to deal with, right? So yes, we have challenges, and I'm not minimizing what students are going through, because right now there's a lot going on in the world in general, and they have distractions. And like we talked about, a lot of students I talk to, like what you mentioned, will say, hey, my dad passed away this semester. My grandma who raised me is battling cancer. It just, there are other things that they're dealing with. And I'm not saying that those are not serious challenges, but I wouldn't say it's more challenging. I think it's some of the differences would be the additional distractions they have.
I completely agree with that. And even with that, virtual learning, when we were in school, that was not a thing. If there was something going on, you just didn't have class that day. That wasn't even an option. And I can see how, that can be difficult for certain people to get used to. And even with social media, it's not even just having the platform, it's just that everybody's living their lives on it. And so it's just so easy to compare yourself to, not even the reality, but just what the appearance of other people's lives are. And so if you're struggling or you're feeling like you're not achieving what you should be, it can be very difficult because you're comparing yourself to what you see all the time. So I completely agree with Dr. Cohen. I think every generation has probably a list of things that it has to overcome trying to finish school, get through grad school, get your career started. And, we're just looking at what the current ones are right now.
Yeah, when I was in optometry school, Facebook was starting to pick up as a big thing. And the reason I created a Facebook page was my colleagues said that they were going to create one for me if I didn't do it on my own. So and then the class president, they wanted me to have a Facebook page. And that's how my journey with Facebook started in optometry school. But wasn't really on Instagram. Got on Instagram and TikTok much later than with Facebook there. But again, it can be a distraction if you are, not tracking the amount of time that you're spending on social media or watching Law and Order, your favorite show, So those episodes, they get really good and you just ready for the next one and the next one. You're like, I'm gonna watch one more. And for you got 3 hours that you've been sitting in front of the TV there with popcorn and popcorn. But so good. And so even as clinicians, we face challenges too. Do you guys want to talk about any of that? That any challenges that you may be facing right now as an optometrist? Staff members or yourself, being organized at the office. I know you got different situations that you're working in. You have your own practice there, your Pearl Vision practice as well, and you're co-owner with someone as well. So 2 different situations. If you want to speak about some of those challenges there, because our colleagues are watching as well.
I think work-life balance is top of the list for me. My husband is the optometrist that I work with at our practice, so it can get to be a point where, you're talking about work at work, you're talking about work at home. And then in between that is kids. And so I'm sure Dr. Brown doesn't know anything about that, but
I know a lot about that.
So work-life balance for sure at the top of the list. But once again, when we talk to students about organizing their lives, we always tell them this is just the first part. Because once everything is done, once you're licensed, once you start working, then you go to planning your schedule for work and your vacations and fitting your family and your friends and everything, into, practicing. And so these are skills that you're going to have to use forever, essentially. And so, it gets really busy, especially for people who start to have families and everything like that. So these are really life skills. It's not just school skills, for sure. And I will also say the bureaucracy of practicing optometry can be very challenging, but, we're doing the best we can,
That's good. That's good. It's not an easy journey, but as you continue to go through more, you work through some of those challenges, things get a little smoother along the way there, until you have that moment where, hey, you got to go out of town and you got to cancel all of Friday's appointments. So staff is scrambling, trying to get those appointments rescheduled. But those are just small things that you deal with in practice there as well. On our part, we deal with a lot of issues with just keeping staff in place and being stable, with staffing and everything. That's always an ongoing battle. Even when I worked at another practice there, it's 18 staff members, and I was constantly doing interviews, replacing people for whatever reason, family issues, or they're going to school and things of that, sort, so those are challenges that, as an optometrist, we're constantly facing, and even here at Insight there. Anything extra you want to add, Dr. Cole?
Oh yeah. I think that as a student, something that I tend to forget, and I've had people say, "Well, you always kind of leave that part out." For one of the additional stressors with boards was that a few weeks before I was taking part one, my mom was hit by a drunk driver, and I didn't talk to anyone about that. And I just kind of kept that to myself. And that added onto me not having great management or time management or organizational skills, and affected me greatly in the process of trying to overcome all the other things I was dealing with. As a practitioner, I have had several health challenges. 2019, I had a tumor removed. 2021 and 22, I had 2 cornea transplants, plus cross-linking, plus PRK because I'm dealing with keratoconus. March of 2020, I took over this ProVision franchise with my brother. We know what happened March of 2020. So I have been without any staff pretty much. I've had one full-time staff person for 4.5 years. And I've been showing up to work half the time, sometimes with only one eye working. So there are challenges that happen while you're in school. There are challenges that happen when you are practicing. And that's something I think we really try to emphasize with students, that, life happens and it doesn't stop, right? You get over one hurdle and then there's something else. So when are you going to be prepared to really gather yourself? When are you going to take your mental health seriously and understand that this affects your body, right? Everything that's going on, if you are not well internally, you cannot perform well. So learning how to manage that. For me personally, that looked like making sure to follow up with my doctor's appointments, making sure to get a therapist to talk to somebody about everything I was dealing with, because I do like to keep things to myself. I don't like to talk to people about things, and that wasn't working out too well. So I really encourage people to be open and to work on what's happening mentally at all times, making sure to take care of not just your physical health, but your mental and spiritual health as well.
Well done. Well said. It is okay to sit on someone's couch and have a conversation, for someone to listen. Right. Because we have a lot of people who think that that's an issue, or you get a label or something like that because you're seeking that type of help and therapy. But it's necessary, and it's necessary for not only adults, but it's necessary for young adults and young children as well there. And that's one thing that I'm thankful at my church here in Augusta. We do this. We open up this opportunity for therapists to come in and for people to actually sign up for those services free of charge. We cover the cost for people to take so many sessions free of cost, because we understand and we know the importance of putting your mental health first. There's so many things that you can try to put before your mental health, but you need to put that first, and you need to seek the help that's out there. A lot of people don't realize that we have a men's ministry, and we talk about that as well with our brothers about mental health. It's important to get those things in line. Now, on a lighter note, let's talk about your fellowship. Let's share a little bit about your journey with your fellowship, and if that was a smooth ride or if it was an exciting opportunity for you with our listening audience there as they get to know you more.
Well, at that time, Dr. Janice James and I met because she volunteered some hours with the tutoring program, and we developed a friendship and obviously a business partnership. And I published the poster with Dr. Pepper and had some points. I didn't do a residency, but Dr. Pepper and Dr. Ruth Shoge and a few other people said, "Why don't you have your fellowship?" I said, "Oh, I don't think that's accessible to me." And it kept, the seed kept being planted in my mind to do it. So I asked Dr. James, who was at the time 9 months pregnant, if she would be my partner in accomplishing this goal. And she said yes. So we set out to both earn our fellowship. I said, "Well, you did your residency. It's just a few more points for you. You just go along with it for me so that we can go ahead and get this fellowship together." And so we went on the journey together, and there were some tears a couple times, but I was the one crying. But I think that it was powerful in that you had an accountability partner. Yes. If I called her crying, say, "Nah, I don't think this is going to work out," she would say, "Oh no, you're doing this. You have me up with this newborn typing case reports. You're going to do this." Mm-hmm. And we accomplished it, thankfully. So I'm really grateful for the experience and for her.
Yes. Wow. And I always wanted to do it. I actually had thought about doing it right after residency, got lazy. So when she asked, I was like, yes, I've always wanted to do this. It's great. Somebody's, going to be, holding me accountable to get this done. And then I was looking up articles on PubMed while holding my newborn in the other arm. And then I thought, what am I doing? But, it worked out. And we were able to do it. I mean, you asked me, it was the end of October. And then we completed our fellowship the following November. Like, we got all our stuff in late January to, for the initial, cutoff date. And we powered through it.
Sure did. That's and good. I would like to plug really
I was just about to say, you need to plug.
I need to go ahead and plug. 2 weeks after earning my fellowship, I was asked to be a part of the Fellowship Engagement Committee. And as a member of this committee, I think I'm really honored to be a part of this because I am the only board member who is not working at an academic institution, who did not do a residency. The purpose of the FCCC program is really engaging not just students, not just residents, but optometrists who have, like what Dr. James mentioned, maybe always wanted to get a fellowship, but never really completed the process. This is a 6-week rigorous program where we guide you on case report writing and how to take the oral exam. Applications are due every spring. This is our 2nd year doing it. And I really want to encourage anyone out there who is interested in getting a fellowship to consider joining the program.
Wow, absolutely. Wonderful. Look at there, another opportunity for current optometrists to take advantage of doing it as well. That is fantastic. And students, if you're listening, once again, I would just encourage you to connect with these ladies, on their social media. Do y'all, and I usually hold this at the end, but how can they connect students currently in optometry school with you all there? If they need assistance or if they want to ask questions there, I know you have your schedule full as an optometrist there, but what are some opportunities that they have to connect with you guys or your material?
You can definitely find us on Instagram. We are at Eyeie Academics. And then also on our website, we do have where you can send us a message if you are needing some assistance with anything, as well as our email addresses on there as well. It's going to be info@eyeieacademics.com.
Good. Just in case there's someone watching and they're just burning to connect with you right now, they can go ahead and get that message sent. Don't delay. Do it today so that the help can be on the way to you. Yes. So that's great information there. And so a question, let me see if there's a question. I can't see here, so I got to just look off to the side. If you guys just hang tight right here. Organization. Okay, help me put it back up there for me. The organization. Guys, sorry. As Dr. James mentioned, and timing starting earlier, as Dr. Cohen mentioned, were pivotal points. and changes that I made along my boards journey, especially part two. There, and this is coming from Stone Hurler. There, good, good. Kanisha McBee said, Dr. Cohen will forever be a blessing in my life. She helped me so much during my struggle of testing anxiety and trying to pass part one. Look at that. Look at that. I told you, impact that you're making, lives you're touching, and you will continue to touch because I believe the best is yet to come. Whatever direction you guys are planning to take. Dr. Whitehead, okay. Dr. Whitehead, we won't mention that comment there. Good. Dr. Whitehead said I may need an eye doctor there, but he can't see my hookup that I got right here in the room there. So that's good. And so, with those comments coming in, that's got to feel good. Know that you guys are making that impact. You've made that impact there. Where do you see Eyeie Academics LLC in the future? Maybe over the next course of 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. Where do you want it to be? And then, based on your projection, some support may be able to come in there to help you with some of those goals.
I want to just say that Dr. McBee has been a blessing in my life. I know for sure. It has been an honor to watch her journey, going from struggling with passing boards to not only passing, but getting doing her residency and earning her fellowship with us. She is by far one of my greatest inspirations. And sometimes I think when we want to kind of quit on this journey, we actually talk about her and say, you know what, if we could change one more person's life like we did with her, and then it's worth it. Right now, we have applications open for students for what will be our inaugural fall program. We have partnered with VSP to create a 6-week program to really hopefully recreate what we did in the quarantine of 2020. This will be 6 one-hour sessions with other professionals, with the licensed mental health counselor, Dr. Jamila Conterton, who is a clinical psychologist, as well as a financial advisor, as well as working through the workbooks. They will receive not only the planner, the journal, as well as our kidney review workbook. And we hope to really guide them in a more personal setting through the process of not only getting through board exams, because this is really about organizing yourself in the semester.
Correct.
It's trying to reframe the understanding, something I didn't know as a student. You should be organizing yourself from your semesters so that you're ready for board exams. You cannot get ready for board exams weeks before. This is something that should have been going on years in advance. So we are really excited for our fall program. Applications are open right now on Eyeie Academics, EYERIE academics.com. And applications close August 31st. We're really looking forward to this inaugural program. And what we hope to do is really have that continued success. This isn't about us. This is really about allowing others to have the opportunity to, like we said, not only improve time management skills, improve organizational skills, but have an open forum and a safe space to talk about the stressors that may be affecting them mentally and inhibiting the success that they need, not only as a professional student, but as an optometrist. Because I think we all touched on it. Life continues to happen. And if you don't learn how to gauge what's going on around you in a healthy manner, it will come back on you, and it will stop you from your growth. So we hope to really not only make changes with professional students in optometry, but hopefully in 2 to 3 years, be able to expand and do this with other professional programs, whether it be law, dental, pharmacy, etc.
And somebody may be listening and they're just sitting on a pot of gold. What do you need from others to support you for your future goals and journey there? How could they best support you all?
I think our goal has been to really, we've invested so much in building this platform. Our partnership with VSP is really being able to gain more help, right? Because we got to a point when it was a passion project that volunteers were saying, listen, I enjoy helping students, but this is for free and I have other things I need to do. So being able to really compensate people for their time even if it's a little bit, because time is money, and it is a sacrifice to spend that much time with students. So we really hope to grow and gain more professionals. Anyone who wants to help us with teaching optics.
Right.
Yes.
That was always a challenge because that is not my ministry, but we would welcome anyone who would like to do that, or who has interest in seeing this expand to other graduate programs.
Right. And I just wanted you to put that out there because, we may have a colleague either today or later watching this webinar on our YouTube channel, and they may say, hey, I got some time. I want to help. I did well in optics, and I don't mind teaching the course, and seeing how they can help, because we never know. I get comments later from people who pick up these webinars, and they ask me questions and things of that sort. So we're hoping that someone will share this. If you're watching this, share this on your page. Share this into your private groups and everything for optometry if you're watching this, so that this message can get out there, that people will know the great things that Eyeie Academics LLC has been doing, and the things that they want to continue to do in the future for our future optometrists as well. So that's why I wanted you to put that out there so that people will have that information available there. So good. Now, as we're going near the end of this webinar, for those who don't know how the name came about there, the name, and what does it mean? You could tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I am Jamaican, as well as Dr. James, by way of Costa Rica. And because of our cultural similarities, we came up with the name Eyeie. Eyeie is a colloquial term within Jamaica, really within the Rastafarian movement, that means having or maintaining a positive outlook or a positive mindset. So Eyeie Academics, really focusing on the total wellness of education and learning.
It was a brilliant name. I am not the creative person out of the two of us. It's like, what should we name it? And she's like, oh, Eyeie. Okay, great. Well, let me get started on figuring out how we're going to get our logo and everything done. Okay. So, we make a great team. And it was so funny, even coming together, doing the NOA tutoring program. And then we finally talked offline and we're like, so why have we not been friends this whole time? But it's been a pleasure to work on this project with Dr. Cohen.
Yeah,
that's good.
Literally, just I like you. Let's hang out.
Yeah, it seems like you guys connect very well together, and that's important. In business relationships, that we are partnering with the right people there, and people who can get on board and share the vision that we may have for certain projects as well. And speaking of partnership, let's talk about mentorships. How important it is for mentorship to happen, to have mentors there to help guide us along the way.
Mentorship is extremely important. I don't tell the story enough, but actually I came into contact with the NOA first when I was in college in 2008, while I was trying to find somebody to write me a letter of recommendation for optometry school. And I was at work, and I said, well, there has to be like a National Optometric Association, right? So I literally Googled National Optometric Association, website pops up, looking, I see they have regional trustees at the time. Dr. Susan Primo was the regional trustee for Georgia at Emory. Emory was about, a 25-minute drive, no traffic from where I was working at the time. So I literally shoot her an email, asked to shadow her. She responds immediately, says, and says yes. I go shadow her. And so, I dub her as one of my top mentors at the time. And, she was just very present, from applying to school, while in school, send her emails, about, what my progress in school. If I needed letters of recommendation, she was always there. And so, she is another reason why I'm committed to this project, because it's just so useful to have, you know, an optometrist, somebody who's gone before you, back you, encourage you, you know, and remind you of the big picture. That's the thing, because when you're in school, you're just so myopic looking at what you have going on, but your mentor shows, you know, the world that's waiting for you once you graduate. And so it's extremely important. There's a long list of people. I can't pick one person to say, you know, this is the most important mentor for me. You have friends, you have family, but definitely, you know, when it comes to me always wanting to show up to mentor and be there for students with the NOA, like Dr. Primo is definitely somebody who inspires me to continue to do so every year.
Wow. Somebody make sure this video get to Dr. Primo so that they can hear this, the words. Have they ever heard you say that?
You know, yes, I did tell her that when we had a SECO reception here. Yes, I did tell her that.
Okay, good.
But maybe
good.
I should like type it up nicely in a letter and send it to her. You know, it's always nice to hear it again, right?
Right, right. You never can do enough of, you know, praises, you know, especially when someone had such a huge impact, you know, on your life and the trajectory of, you know, your pathway, you know, in optometry there. So we open up the office, you know, for students to mentor here as well. You know, we've had one in here recently mentoring there. So I'm always trying to whisper in the ear, you know, we need more optometrists, you know, to students as they're coming through, because we see a lot of children here at the office there. Don't want to steal away from you, Dr. Cohen, if you wanted to add in about mentorship as well.
I second what Dr. James said. I think that it is a lifeline as a student, someone trying to get into optometry school, get through optometry school, get through the profession as an optometrist. And I think it's a two-way blessing. It's also been a blessing to be a mentor. For me personally, I remember attending the NOA convention and just being wowed by all these doctors when I was a student. And I definitely have told Dr. Pepper this. I remember she did the board's review when I was a student. And she opened the book and she said, I don't even know why they have me doing this. I didn't pass boards the first time. But that was what I needed to hear. And I remember I would just have just worship Dr. Pepper. I was like, if I could just be like her, just be down to earth like her, it'd be awesome. I had Dr. Ruth Shoge at PCO. She was head of pediatrics. I would go around whispering, that's my Shiro. And I would just go behind her in peace, you know. And during my fellowship process, Dr. Jackie Davis was just so phenomenal. Really encouraging me. I shed some tears trying to do the fellowship at one point. And Dr. Davis really talked me off of the ledge as well. So I have so many people within the NOA that have been mentors. There's Auntie Dr. Vicky, who would, you know, co-edit the newsletters with me for the Sightline. There's so many people who feel like family and who feel so important to me. And I feel the same way about my mentees, Dr. Monique Mohammed Weeks and Dr. Ria McGee and Dr. Stephen D. I would say Dr. D. Dr. Christine Auguste, Kanisha McBee, Dr. McBee. They're mentees who along the way have made being an optometrist worthwhile. Like it's really special, the moments we have in clinic with patients. But I think the thing that really gives you that kind of that added boost, or when you need that reinvigoration to keep going, it's helping others, and it's being able to reach out when you need help as well.
Wow, that's incredible. Great words shared by both of you there as we're coming to the end of this webinar. And I just really thank you guys for sharing, you know, your testimony, any challenges and struggles, and also just sharing the impact that you're making on the lives of others. Such a positive impact there. And the National Optometric Foundation really appreciate you and thank you for highlighting the impact that the NOA has had on your journey there as a student and currently as an optometrist there as well. You know, just being at the convention in Philadelphia, it still has that family reunion type feeling there. It's like you're coming back home You're seeing auntie and uncle there as well, and they want to know how things are going. They want to know if you got any kids. They want to see pictures, or if your children are there, they want to meet them. You know, it's that same feeling that we got when we were students in optometry school there as well. So we thank the NOA for all that it stands for and continues to do. Our founders who started the NOA, thank them, you know, for starting an organization, and those who continue to carry it on. Speaking of that, Dr. Orso made a comment here for you ladies. Dr. Orso, some great things are coming in the future for him as well as we journey up to Columbus, Ohio for our next convention in 2025. He said, thank you so much, Dr. James and Dr. Cohen. Your leadership is much appreciated and valued by your NOA family, Dr. Orso. Just wanted to shout out, put those things out there. Dr. Jones also said he is so proud of both of you. Continue to do the great things that you're doing there. So all of those, that feedback, that positive feedback from our colleagues there, hopefully it's making you guys feel warm there. Congratulations, someone put on here as well, Dr. Cohen as well there. So speak to those who may be listening, needing help, whether it's mental health or help in optometry, or a colleague who may want to give help. As you guys wrap it up there, and I give you both the opportunity to be able to speak to them, any words that you want to leave, final words with them in regards to learning, education, mental health, optometry, what you're doing, partnering with you as well. This would be the opportunity for you to be able to do that as we're closing out the webinar.
I would just like to say that if you are having any trouble, just to know that you're not alone. And that's the reason why we are here, to provide help, to provide support, and just don't think that you're the only one. We have our, like I said, we have our Instagram page, Eyeie Academics, at Eyeie Academics. You can send us a private message if you are having any questions or if you need any assistance with anything. Our website as well has our business email address. We do check it. So if you need to reach out, please feel free, use those modalities to get in contact with us. And we will definitely point you in the direction to fill out an application for the program if you're interested. And if you just have general questions, somebody looking for mentorship, whether it's with us or other doctors who would like to be mentors, we will definitely put you in contact with people for that as well.
I think that Dr. James covered quite a bit just now. I just want to repeat the one part of, like, you are not alone. I think it's really, really important to understand that by allowing yourself to receive help, you are not just unlocking your full potential, you are freeing yourself from anything that is keeping you imprisoned, whether it's fear, whether it's stress, anxiety, the feeling of being defeated. You can succeed. You can succeed as an optometry student. You can succeed as an optometrist. This is still a profession for you, and do not hesitate to reach out and ask for the help that you need.
Excellent, excellent. The help is there, the resources are available, and these two dynamic doctors just gave you guys the information there to reach out and get the help that's needed there. Thank you, Dr. James. Thank you, Dr. Cohen, so much for being on this webinar and making it a success again. Another episode of Protecting the Vision there. Learning, education, and mental health there. So thank you guys. We wish you the best. I know that greater things are coming for Eyeie Academics LLC as you guys continue to follow your vision. And then if there's anything that we can do to help support, please let us know as well too. I am behind you 100%. That's my word, and I just put it out there.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. And there you go, folks. Another fabulous episode accomplished here tonight with Dr. James and Dr. Cohen as they shared some things that they may have struggled with, and also resources that's available now from their struggles to now a positive spin, helping others who may be challenged when it comes to learning, when it comes to education, and when it comes to mental health. And that's the beauty of being able to reach back and give back. The National Optometric Foundation want to continue to do these great things, and we want you guys to connect with us on our website, nationaloptometricfoundation.com. We also are on Facebook, same name, National Optometric Foundation. Our YouTube channel is available for you to watch webinars like this. And also, if you would like to donate, to continue to allow us to do these great things that we do for students, for the community, putting this public education out there for free. We have a Cash App, $ Protecting the Vision. The NOF is a nonprofit organization, and we want to continue to be the financial arm, that supporting arm for our parent organization, the National Optometric Association. So we ask you to continue to do your best to support us financially, as many of our sponsors have. Thank you, VSP. Thank you, Johnson & Johnson. Thank you, Essilor. Thank you, Hoya. Thank you, Alcon, Walmart, National Vision, Cooper Vision, Bausch & Lomb, Modern Optical, Versant, Luxottica, and so many more. Thank you for being a great support to our organizations. We hope you guys will join us next month on our next webinar. We'll have another fabulous doctor sharing his journey with us, and we hope you guys have a great night. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on our next webinar.